Hello, this is Ms. DB. In this video, we are going to look at slope. So we are going to learn that the slope of a line is the ratio of the vertical rise to the vertical run, and find the slope of a line. If you did the exploring slope with Gizmo assignment, then you've already got a good idea about what slope is and how we will find it. All right, so let's think about when someone first learns to ski. They usually start on a slope that is not very steep. Sometimes it's called the beginner's slope. Sometimes it's called the bunny slope. It's a not steep slope so that when someone falls, they won't, go tumbling all the way to the bottom. After you learn the basic skills of skiing, which I don't know how to do, but a lot of people do, then you can get on a steeper slope. So this might be the beginner's slope. And this might be the expert slope. And the expert slope is much more steep. So when you think about slope, remember about ski slope, and the steeper the line, then it can help you remember how to tell which slope is higher, which slope is steeper. So we talk about slope a lot as being rise over run. What that means is how far up do you go and how far left or right do you go to measure that slope. So the slope is the ratio of the vertical, the up and down rise of a line, to the horizontal, which is left to right, run of the line. So let's look at this example here. If you put your finger on A, right here, to move from point A to B, you can go up 5 units up, and then you can make a right turn, and then you can go 6 units right. So what we just made was a right triangle where we went straight up and then straight to the right. And you can find the slope by doing this. Our rise was 5 units, and to count that, you count the squares, not the lines. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares. And the run is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and from the corner to B. So we would say 5 over 6 is the slope of that line. So this is a positive slope. It's going uphill from left to right. We looked a little bit about this in the Gizmo activity as well. And now we're going to look at some negative slopes. So in this one, if you were a skier at the top of the hill here, this is skis, and here is the person, you would be going downhill. So this is a negative slope. And you can find the slope by the same method we did before, which is you're going to start at one point. In this case, we're going to go straight down, make a right turn, and then go across to G. And then you can count the units, 1, 2, 3, 4 down, and 1, 2, 3 right, to get a slope of negative 4 over 3. The reason it's negative is there's 2 reasons. One is it's going downhill, so we know it's negative. The other is we went down when we started from point F to get to the right corner. So negative 4 over 3. So we have positive slopes where when we start at usually the lower left and go up, that's a positive slope. We have negative slopes where if you start at the left, you go down. We have slopes of horizontal lines. All of those have a slope of 0. And again, that's something that we explored in the Gizmo activity. And a vertical line has a slope that is undefined. That's because there is no run, and we cannot divide by 0. So here's the calculations to find the slope of a horizontal line and the slope of a vertical line. So what you're going to do for the first part is name whether the slopes are positive, negative, 0, or undefined. You don't have to find the slope in these problems. Just decide whether they're positive, negative, 0, or undefined. You can highlight or underline these slopes. You can retype it if you want. Here's a horizontal line. and I can look back, the slope of a horizontal line is 0. So the slope of this one would be 0. And there's a vertical one, and the slope of a vertical line, you can look back to see what that will be. Now in the next few questions, we're going to find the slope of each line. So you're going to draw a right triangle, start at this point I'll start at, and I'll go straight down. And then I'm going to turn and draw another straight line to the other point. And now I'm going to count the rise. So when you start counting the rise, I always make little bumps. You don't want to start counting here and say 1, 2. We're not counting the lines. We're counting the spaces between the lines. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my rise is 6. Now we're going to count, actually this would be -6 because I went downhill. Now I'm going to count the run. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I went to the left, so that's negative as well. So my rise over my rise is -6, my run is -4. And if I put that together as a ratio, I would get -6 over -4. Now, a negative divided by a negative is a positive number, so I can write this as 6 over 4. Also, you could simplify that fraction. For this worksheet, you do not have to simplify your fractions, but I'm going to because we've been practicing simplifying ratios. So I could divide both of these numbers by 2 because 2 is a common factor of both 6 and 4. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So this ratio of rise over run would be the slope, which is 3/2 or 3 over 2. Note that we usually write slope as a fraction. So I wouldn't get my calculator out and find out what 3 divided by 2 is. And I wouldn't write it as a mixed number. I would just leave this as 3 over 2. Number 6, you just have to go back and see what all horizontal lines slopes are. So I didn't put rise over run here. It has no rise, so you wouldn't be able to answer that anyway. And here's another one to do to calculate the slope. See how you do. Here's a vertical line, so look back and see what all the slopes of vertical lines will be. So again, I didn't put rise and run here because there is no run. And a couple more to practice with. So you're going to find the slope of each of these. If you want to simplify the slope, you can, but you don't have to on these. Do write your slope as a fraction, rise over run. If you have any questions, let me know and have a wonderful day.